You have this quote on your website that I was hoping you could expound upon. Connection is the best possible medicine. Tieraona ultimately seeks to connect people to the medicine and magic already present in their bodies and lives. And I think what you just said there illustrates that nicely. But yeah, could you expound upon that a bit?
Yeah, this illusion that we're disconnected is really just that. And it's good to be disillusioned from it, right? Sometimes to be disillusioned is good because it's an illusion that we're disconnected. We're connected all the time. And sometimes we don't feel it. Sometimes we don't see it. But that need for human connection, connection to nature, connection to animals, for myself, I have 2 dogs laying out here on the porch. I'm deeply bonded and connected to them. I'm deeply connected to this land that I live on. I'm deeply connected to my family. I'm deeply connected to my neighbors. I mean, so that sense of connection is so vital to us as human beings. There's a difference between solitude and being alone, right? And being lonely. I love my solitude and I love my alone time. I don't feel lonely. And I see a lot of loneliness and I see a lot of disconnection, people feeling disconnected from things around them. And, the studies clearly show that, people who identify as socially isolated or lonely have a much higher risk of heart disease. It's as dangerous. Listen to this. This was a Brigham Young did a big review of all the studies and found that basically it was being socially isolated and feeling lonely was as dangerous as smoking 3/4 of a pack of cigarettes. It was as dangerous as being an alcoholic. It was twice as dangerous as being obese for your health. So, we weren't meant to be in isolation. That's why it's so deadly. It used to be one of the greatest punishments in old days. I mean, those of us who grew up like in Sunday school remember like the banishment, right? You got banished. They sent you out and away. And this also was not uncommon for many indigenous peoples as well. If you were being punished, oftentimes they sent you out alone. And being out alone thousands and thousands of years ago would have been very dangerous because it meant you were alone to hunt, to protect yourself, to keep yourself warm, to build shelter, everything that you needed. So we're hardwired for intimacy. We're hardwired for connection. And one of the things I love is for people to be reminded of the magic that's inside of them. We're all magical creatures. We're all magical beings. And we are often much too fast to surrender our own magic and our own inner wisdom to some outside expert. And even if I saw you every week for an hour, as a doctor, I see you every week, 52 weeks, that'd be 52 hours. You've lived with yourself that much in 2.5 days. Nobody will ever know you like you know you. So don't, seek counsel and then digest that and see what feels right to you. And then using the best of your counsel and the best of your own intuition and wisdom, make the choices that are right for you and your family.
I was just at a wedding, my good friends Giuseppe and Allie in the San Juan Islands in Washington, and he's known as the free tea guy. And what he did was he was feeling lonely in his early 20s. He started going around the nation serving free tea to people in order to cure that loneliness, so to speak. And now he has this thriving community. Lots of people love him. He doesn't experience loneliness anymore. And I'm just kind of curious, do you have any suggestion, maybe like low-hanging fruit for folks that are feeling lonely, any like small steps that someone could take to kind of branch out and maybe cure their loneliness?
I think that is such a wonderful story. I love that. Free tea for people, right? And that as a service, but also it served himself as well as serving others, right? So it was such a win-win. And there's so many ways that, if you're lonely, you could not be lonely. Like when my parents, we moved them here to New Mexico to take care of them when they were quite elder. And I met the people across the street and they had some kids. And I said, oh, you should come over. And they met my parents. And then those kids would bring them cookies and my parents would have them over. My dad would go outside and talk to the boy as he was playing basketball. And they met their neighbors down the street. And what I will tell you is that many people live in neighborhoods and have no idea who lives around them. Like everybody wants to just get in their car and go in their garage, close the garage and go inside and turn on the television. And they don't want to talk to anybody. They don't want to know anybody. If you want to have a friend, be a friend. If you want to have relationships, be a person that somebody would want to be in relationship with. There are lots of hospitals that need people in the newborn intensive care units and newborn nurseries to hold babies and to care for babies because there's not enough nurses. There's lots of opportunity in senior centers to go and be of service. I used to take my kids and we would go down, I worked at healthcare for the homeless for a while, and we would go down and on Thanksgiving and Christmases and that we would go down and serve food to others, that were underserved. And I just think there's so many ways to be of service. And the example that you gave of the free tea guy, that was such a beautiful story. And it really represents somebody who also was proactive, yes, who said, I'm lonely, but I have within me the ability to fix my loneliness. And then he went out and did something about it. And so, if you're feeling that, then get that place inside of you when you're ready and go out and make those friendships. So powerful. So powerful.
I love that. Yeah, sometimes it's just a matter of starting small. For instance, before I started the Herbalist Hour, I was very nervous. And you know what? This is like my 60th interview and I'm way more comfortable about it now. So if you are feeling lonely, just do some tiny little small step. And then there's momentum that builds upon that. So good true. Advice. Yeah.
Going to see your neighbor and just saying hello is pretty low hanging fruit.
It should be. It should be. Instead of, as you said, go from box to box and, getting on the TV and stuff, it's good to be proactive and whatnot.